This is going to be a video about designing your dream life. I have taken notes from one of my very favorite people, Ed Mylett, and I have also taken notes from a book that I have been reading recently called Being the Best You Can Be in MLM by John Kalinch. And it's a really good book. So anyway, designing your dream life. The definition of invent is to create or design something that hasn't existed before. And so when we talk about inventing or designing things that haven't existed before, and I looked these words up, it's all about change, changing something, so much that it appears brand new. It's about inventing or designing something new in our life and taking the control of that design. That's how we invent and reinvent things in our life. So let me ask you this. When is the last time you gave yourself the gift of inventing or reinventing something in your life? Now, as people of faith, we believe that, we're the co-authors of our life, right? It's us and it's God, and all the chapters of our life are created by the two of us. At any given time, we can grab a new pen, and just decide we're going to design a new chapter of our life and make a new difference in our life and take our life maybe in a new direction. When's the last time you actually asked yourself, if I want to do that, what are the things I want to change about my experience? Recently I've had some very good friends pass away at young ages. Our dear friend Karen Pickett, and many of you know the story of Katie Richards, who was just 45 years old and passed away in a car accident a couple weeks ago. And sometimes we think that we have forever. We think that we have forever to get around designing our life to be the life we want. Or we think that we have forever to change things. But I want to have you think about this. What if we don't have forever? What if that needs to start right now, like right this second? As you're listening today or watching, start to ask yourself the questions that matter. When was the last time you gave yourself the gift of, you fill in the blank? What do I want my life to look like? Am I truly one of the designers of that life? Do I have any input? Do I have any control over it? And I'll tell you, I believe that you do. I believe God gives us free choice and free will, but we do have the input, and we do have that choice, along with God's blessings in our life. Just as we begin today, what do you want that life to look like? Specifically, what do you want to feel in your life? What are the emotions you want to experience more of? What would you like to experience as a whole? What do you want to look like? Where do you want to live? What do you want to drive? How do you want to feel when you wake up in the morning? First thing when you wake up in the morning, what do you want to be thinking about? Have you ever asked yourself that, like right when you wake up? Do I feel grateful? Do I want to feel excited? Do I want to feel joy? Do I want to feel peace? Do I want to feel proud, looking forward to my life? Or do I want to wake up worried, frustrated, bored, or stressed? What do you want to feel? When's the last time you took control over that? How would you like to spend the hours of your life? What do you want to do when you retire one day? What are the things you want to do for other people? Just begin to ask yourself and take an inventory of these questions. It's such a great gift. Dreaming is free. It doesn't cost you anything. Yet so few of us give ourselves the gift of dreaming again, designing again, creating again. I mean, this idea that some of us may dispute whether or not you have any control over the design in your life, you have to go more further than your own body. Is it God's will that you put 50 pounds on, or that you're not as strong as you want to be? Is it God's will how our body looks? Do we have the choices of the food that we put in our bodies? Do we have the choice over working out or not working out? Doing the cardio or don't doing the cardio? The disciplines that we have now are the things out of our control. There are things out of our control. Like, could you get a disease? Could there be a genetic issue in your life? Well, yes, of course. But so there's a balance between destiny and design. But all we can do in our life is pray that we have the insights into that direction and destiny that we should be pursuing. But at the same time, we should take control over all the things that we can design and can change. So how do you want to live? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be around? Begin to ask yourself this. And I'm going to recommend a few things to you. There's this notion in personal development that is talked about a lot, which is to be fully present. You hear that a lot, don't you? Be present, be in the moment, live in the moment, find more presence in your life. Don't worry so much about the past, and don't look into the future so much. There's a lot of validity to that, but I'm going to say something that if you're going to reinvent your life, one of the things that you have to do is to have a compelling future. Do you ever have a morning where you wake up and that night you've got something cool that you're going to do? Maybe you're going to have dinner with a good friend, lunch with your sweetie. The next day you're going to go to a ball game or a concert or a comedy show. Maybe you're going to see a movie that you wanted to see. Doesn't that expectation, that looking forward, get you through the morning? It does for me. I think human beings need to live in the present, but this notion that we should have no forward projection of what we're looking to is really difficult and can put us in a place where we don't want to be. Someone that does not look into the future, if I show you somebody like that, you're going to see somebody that's not really very happy. And I think human beings need to have something to look forward to, even in our faith life. If you want to break that down, if we're going to get really honest, whatever your faith is, isn't part of that faith the promise of future in heaven? The future in heaven is our promise. And so obviously, if you're listening to this, that is something that we in the present look forward to into our future. So we have something to look forward to, something that exists. And so human beings need to live fully present, yes, but we also need to look forward to that something that we're shooting towards. The other thing is that progress is power, and you find any human being who may not be where they want to be, but if they feel like they're making progress in getting there, I'll show you somebody pretty happy. So I think the first step to ask yourself, what do I want to design? What do I need to change? But then the next thing is the progress, to look forward to something and be making progress in that area. There's all this new data out now that studies the brain about dopamine, which is the pleasure chemical. Very interesting. This essentially says that in the pursuit of your goal, in the making of the progress towards something that you want, you have a greater hit of dopamine in the brain, much higher levels than when you actually achieve it in the present moment. there's actually a crash of dopamine that happens after the achievement. It just goes away. And so this pursuit, this idea of progress or growth in our life is such a requirement to peace and happiness and bliss. So yes, be in the present, but you better be making progress towards something, because that's where you're getting all the dopamine. You got to be growing and changing. And there's the thing about growth and change. Human beings underestimate their capacity to get good at something. They fully get intentional and immersed and begin to dedicate a full focus into something. Human beings, when that happens, have an amazing capacity over even a short window of time, like a year, to get really good at whatever it is they're pursuing. So think about it. Where do you want to be in a year? Where do you see yourself in a year? And envision exactly what you want. Now, not all the things our Creator wants that you want, benchmarks, achievements, they give you the gift of that all, but what's something new you could try and take all the way back to when you were a child? Why are children so happy? Well, I think one of the reasons is, first of all, they were once closer to God, more recently than we are. Number two, they haven't learned all these patterns of limiting beliefs and had all these people project their small mind, their small thinking, their small way of life onto them. Also, as a child, you don't have the accumulation of rejections and letdowns yet. If those are things that make us happy, then the elimination or reduction of those things would make us happier now, right? So we can reinvent. When we were a child, we weren't just fully present. We were looking forward to things. Can you remember that? Think back. Everything's new. You're learning, you're changing, you're growing, you're making progress all the time, whether that be in school or a sport you picked up. You were always learning. As a child, you were starting to make progress and grow and change and try new things because everything's in front of you. There is something as an adult we begin to rob ourselves from, and that is dreaming and looking to the future, where there's nothing new. There's no progress, there's no growth, there's no change, there's no real difference. There's nothing to look forward to in our life. I mean, think about it. When you were a kid, I think back to Christmases, and oh my gosh, I would just be so excited and looking forward to the cousins coming and the late night card games and board games and all the fun that we would have. And I couldn't wait to ride a bike. You know, I remember when I got to be like 4, and I would look forward to, when I get bigger, I'm going to be able to ride a bike without training wheels, you know. And I remember then when I was like 12 or 13, that anticipation of, oh my goodness, someday I'm going to have a car and I'll be able to drive that car around town and just have a great amount of freedom. Remember that? Someday I will have my own schedule. I'll be 18, 19 years old and maybe thinking about, oh, someday soon I'll get to go to the bar with my friends and have a drink. Anything we want to be great at and become fully passionate about and fully committed to and dedicate a lot of time to, you will get great at it. There's a study that's out there right now that a human being who picks up a new hobby that dedicates 3 hours a week to it for a full year, regardless of what the hobby is, will find themselves in the top 5% in the world in that hobby within that 1 year. Because you know what? Most people dabble. Most people don't do anything. Most people don't get creative at all. Most people don't change things at all. They don't design new things. So this is how you reinvent your life. Try some new stuff. Get a new design. Dream again. Because guess what? You aren't most people. Check in with yourself. Do an audit. Think about, is my old dream still my dream? Is this the thing that I wanted? Do I still want it now? As I get closer, or you get closer or further from it, is it what you wanted if you have it? This process is still exciting to me. It's a new time for a new design, time for new change, time to reinvent yourself. All the structures of your body, if you think about it, are being reborn all the time. I mean, your lung tissue is redesigning itself on a very regular basis. So are your bones, your skeletal tissue, your cellular structures. We know that. In a week from now, in 2 weeks from now, in 90 days from now, our whole body will be a different body. Is it going to be better? So why do we know that physiologically our bodies change, but we halt the change happening into our mind, into our spirit, our very spirit? Should your mind, its nature, for it to be reborn, be untruth? Your body changes. Why not your mind and your spirit? This is nature, but it's not nature to do it in our mind. It's not nature to do it in our spirit. So how about this? You get clear on those things. Really intentionally think about, how do I want to feel when I wake up in the morning? What are the emotions that I want to feel? Who are the people that I want to surround myself with? What do I want to look like? What do I want to see that I haven't seen? Where do I want to go that I haven't gone? And who do I want to connect with? What's my body going to look like? What's my energy level going to look like? What do I want to be good at? How do I want to feel about myself? And what memories do I want to create? What's your legacy going to be? This is how we begin to reinvent ourselves. We have to take that inventory on what things that maybe you used to want that you don't want anymore and move on. What progress do you need so that you're getting the dopamine hit? And then the more you achieve it, your vibrational frequency actually will pick up. You actually, when you think about increasing vibrational frequency, when you are in the process of reinventing yourself or going toward a goal, that frequency is so high that it actually starts to draw in the things that you want. How cool is that? So you really have to be careful what you think about, because if you're thinking about negative thoughts, you can draw those things into your life as well. And we certainly don't want that, do we? That will halt our reinventing ourselves and getting toward our dreams. You have to be careful that you don't focus on those worries, those problems, and those fears. Fears and worries because you increase your vibrational frequency. And so again, you don't want it to come back to haunt you. There is a grand design for life. Don't underestimate that. We can have all the best plans in the world, but still know that God has his hands in our life. And we get that. But just like in our body, you have free will. You have a choice. Being present matters. But having something to look forward in life is the juice of life. Take some time in the present to think about the future. Any of you that are raising kids or have raised kids, can you imagine telling your kids, just be fully present? Don't think about your future at all. Don't think about your choices. Don't have any dreams. Don't have any future. Don't have any vision for your life. No, we can't see ourselves saying that. Your whole faith, if you have faith, is predicted on doing things in the present, but understanding there's a promise for you in the future. And you get to look forward to it. So this self-help stuff about being fully present, like everything, the pendulum has swung maybe a little bit too much to the other side, and there's not enough people future dreaming, designing, and creating a life. You are the designer and the architect of your life along with God. Sometimes we underestimate the power of what we could be doing if we were fully focused on something for just even 1 year. Remember that someone who dedicates 3 hours to a new hobby or business or routine within 1 year is at the top 5 percentile in that. In just 1 year. That's pretty cool. That gives me a lot of hope. The more we become a collection of patterns, the older we get, the more we don't want to look back. And these behaviors and thoughts of life can just sort of go on repeat. We drive on the road and we don't even need to think about the exit we get off anymore. It's so autopilot, we just do it. I don't want to live that way. I don't want to get to heaven someday and not have anything to remember in my life. And metaphorically and literally in many people's lives, they're just now going through the patterns and the emotions. They do the same 5 or 6 things with the same 5 or 6 people and wonder why they're not happy. Because they haven't reinvented anything. So pick a new hobby maybe. Work at something that you know that you need to get better at in this business that you have chosen to be a part of. Because if we haven't reinvented or done anything, we can become stagnant. Start painting, listening to different music, doing something different. Because we are in reinventing, our bodies are reinventing themselves in a constant basis. Why not our minds and our spirit doing the same? Listen to your spirit. Take some time to be in the quiet and let your intuition speak to you, like God speaking to you. If it's very quiet and very still, and you give yourself some meditation time or quiet time alone, just allow it to come. And I think you'll begin to hear things and feel things that come from your higher power. It is a great saying that says the average person dies at 25. We just don't get around to burying them and putting them into the ground until 75 or 80. I don't like that saying, I guess. I don't think it's such a great saying. But if you really think about it, there's a lot of truth to be had there. What I'm here to tell you is that this is a constant, never-ending process in our life. And the happiest people that I've met in my life are constantly and never-ending improving. So although they're very fully present, they're working hard on their future. They're reinventing their future. They're inventing and changing things. They are realizing that they are the co-author of their life with God. They're just not going through the motions. They are intentional with their life. So I recommend to you, do these things that you need to do to reinvent your life. Let today be the first day you decide, I want the change, and this is what I'm going to do about it. You were all born with a purpose in mind. We all were. And that purpose was given to us from God. And so, if we have that design and that purpose from God, we need to follow in that purpose. And that's where we're going to find the joy. When you were born, you were made to do something great with your life. And if you're having a hard time picturing what those things are and what you want to do, it probably involves serving other people. It probably involves experiencing things with other people. And you were born to help those people in big ways and small ways. You are most qualified, this is big, to help the person that you used to be. I'll say that again. You're most qualified in life to help the person that you used to be. There are a lot of people that need you to become and to be you. Once you change, once you grow, the more things, the more ways you can help to serve these people. Who are you becoming, my friend? And who do you want to become? What is the legacy that you want to leave behind?